Continuing part 2, the world of the names, the secret of the rose. This Shoshana has much in common with Esther. Both of them are hidden. Is there any identity between the Shoshana and Esther? Maybe. This question is bound to thrust itself on us, the more so because everything is enacted in Shoshan, the masculine form of Shoshana. Shoshana used to be translated as rose. The name Shoshana for Jewish women, sometimes in the corrupt form of Susan, was often Europeanized as Rose. Originally, it was not so much the rose one had in mind, as it has come to us via botany as one of the exterior phenomena of the primordial concept, Shoshana, but rather the flower which in a mysterious way has something to do with creation, with exile, with hiding. It does not matter whether the name is translated as rose or lily or even lotus. What matters is the flower as it is present in primordial creation and within ourselves, and from which, among other things, emanates the wealth of flowers in our world, thus covering up, hiding the real flower. The more, therefore, we get absorbed in flowers as a botanical phenomenon, the more real flower will get hidden. Shoshana is a woman's name, like Esther. Either indicates secrecy, inaccessibility, and either is filled with the sweet mystery of God's creation itself. King Ahasuerus insists all the time that Esther shall tell him her origin, for he feels that there is something mysterious about Esther. The ruler of the laws of nature is ever anxious as regards the origin of this queen. He feels there is something strange about it. She might one day remove the foundations for the operation of the laws of nature. To Ahasuerus, there remains a considerable, unexplained rest, in spite of all that tallies and explains itself. Ahasuerus, too, is eager to get through the thorns to find the Shoshana, constrained by creation to do so, in order to find out the secret of that which hides itself. The word, the language of the Ivri, shows that it is not only in their qualities, in their character, that Esther and Shoshana show their relationship. That is not for nothing that Esther lives in Shoshan, and that the story is enacted in Shoshan. The elements from which the word Esther is formed, the quantitative expression of that which through the human voice becomes sound, and of that which through the human eye becomes an image, form the concept 661. The elements of the word Shoshana form exactly the same concept, 661. In essence, there really is identity. In view of the identity and appearance, it could not have been expected differently. In Jewish practice of life, knowledge of this identity gave rise to singing a song at Purim, the day when the Megillah is read, starting with the words, Shoshanath, Jacob, rose of Jacob. This rose, this Shoshana is Esther, is the hidden, is the secret which is disclosed at the climax of the action. The rose at creation. Ancient lore knows the rose, the Shoshana, even at creation. It need not surprise us either, for when at creation the Shekinah enters the exile, then in reality she is Esther there. Then there is already the Shoshana. Then there is the Shoshana enveloped by the phenomenal, the exterior, by what is coming with creation. The thorns surround and hide the Shoshana, the bearer of the secret. Tradition has it that in the beginning, when the word ushers in the creation of the 6 days, the Shoshana is hidden in these words. For the 13 words between the first mention of the name of God and the second time this name is expressed are the 13 petals of the Shoshana. In the translated text, there are, of course, various words, according to the translation, generally more than 13, since Biblical Hebrew has a more concise way of expression than other languages. In the English translation, these words are counted from in the beginning, and they end in, and the spirit of. In the immutable words created by God, in the words as they really are with God, before creation starts with the word, there are therefore 13 units, 13 words in between the times that God's name emerges. The 13 petals of the Shoshana are alternately red and white, 6 red ones, 6 white ones. The 13 has an indefinite color. In the absolute, the concept 12 is what expresses itself as measure for the time of the universe and of life in that universe. Thus, ancient knowledge, which is similarly knowledge in man, likewise divides the universe into 12 parts. In our knowledge of the exterior, these parts are still known as the 12 constellations of the zodiac. Ancient knowledge was aware that something pertaining to another world was expressed in these places of the visible universe. The stars, visible there, merely serve as orientation to indicate the place. The stars do not form those images. They might just as well form different images if the lines were drawn in a different way. In the universe, though, at the borderline, which is not specifically viewed from the astronomical standpoint, something is expressed from another world, which denotes what principle of undivided harmony will present itself for this world as forming part of the whole cycle of time. In this world, it also acquires form, and all sorts of things in creation similarly adopt the form of that principle. Its stamp is found on all things in creation. This 12 is also expressed in the 12 sons of Jacob. With the 12 tribes, our universe acquires life, which may be read upwards and downwards. The 13 has to redeem the 12 from time, was to bring the 12 to unity, to harmony. The 13th is what redeems. The 12 sons of Jacob are waiting for the 13th. The concept 13 expresses unity in the absolute, just as the word for one in Hebrew has the 13 as sum total of the components. 12 is the ever-revolving and ever-changing, just like the alternating red and white petals. Duality causes revolving, causes ever-alternating. Red is called the color which is identical with the point of the compass north, the direction of things heavy, things material. It is the color of what nourishes life. It is known as the concept Gabriel as expression of God's thought. Gabriel has to do with strength, with physical strength. Esau is red. The name Edom for Esau simply means red. White is the opposite color. It is the color of the compass point south, the direction of what is light and weight, rising up, leaving the earth. White expresses God's intention as the principal Michael. This name means who is as God. The concept who refers to personal relationship with God. The concept what merely refers to things general. If the word who is used when asked for God, there is the connection. If the question is what is it, there is not yet the personal touch which can make the connection. In the northern side of the temple, there is the so-called table with the 12 loaves, the showbread. These loaves, similarly arranged as 6 and 6, are constantly changed because time constantly changes. Time eats its progeny. In the northern side of the temple, everything material, everything of our world and our life comes in that it may be brought near to God, that it may be connected with its source of origin. In the north, it changes its character. It is deprived of the round, that which is in itself the continuous, the evolving. In fact, it is destroyed there. In the southern side, it is faced with the four corners, with the secret of the four. That is why in the southern side, there is the so-called candlestick with the 7 branches. 3 branches facing 3, but with the 7th as the answer as the center. For in the south is the light of little weight, that which rises up, the non-physical world. The even number contains duality. The odd number, and especially by the prime number, answers the question of thesis and antithesis, answers the question of white and red. The answer, in fact, is the neshama coming into duality. The neshama knows the number of a different order, the whole, the indivisible, which oscillates among the other numbers, bestowing life and sense on the other numbers. Thus, there is the 13th petal of the Shoshana. It faces the red and the white petals as if giving an answer, unifying everything. It is neither red nor white. It is the answer to the contrast, the answer to the question regarding the significance of time, the significance of things happening. The 13 is the 7th prime number. The 13th is like the 7th day, procuring the answer. That is why human life is measured with the 120, 10 times 12. For in this life, the answer is not given. This life is still the alternation between red and white, between night and day, good and bad. It is only the 130, 10 times 13, which gives the answer. The 130 is the Sulam, the ladder which Jacob sees with the 4 angels on it, the connection between heaven and earth, where the 4 also becomes visible. It is also as the sum total of the elements of the word Sinai, whether pronounced or written down. The place and the time where God descends to reveal the word in its 10 facets. Jehoshua, the corrupted form of Joshua, he that accomplishes the way from duality to unity, which brings man to the promised land, which redeems him from being eaten up by time in the 12, is therefore of the 13th of the tribes. He is of Ephraim. Of him who via a detour, which was considered impossible, yet bestowed the unity of the 13 to the 12. To the 12 about whom Reuben knew that they should be 13, just as everybody knows that things cannot be completed in time, that there must be an answer beyond time. Reuben is the impatience in man, which makes him run after the answer. It is the first of these manifesting human principles which comes into prominence in this first of the tribes. It is this hurry, this understandable tragic hurry, which brings the firmament and time for the world. It is the same impatience which causes man to eat of the tree of knowledge, unable as he is to wait for the tree of life, which indeed implies everything. In either case, similarly, wherever this pattern manifests itself, this life, this exile comes forth. One might say it is the impatience of God himself to bestow the immense bliss on man and on the whole of creation. The 12 of the alternating red and white petals of this Shoshana on the threshold of creation contain the complete story within themselves, and the 13th word is that which gives the answer, which shows the balance, which redeems, which unites. It is the word ruach, translated as spirit, but actually, like all these words, impossible to translate. It is the ruach Elohim, the ruach of God. This ruach of God uniting the opposites, which indeed is as a kind of definition of the concept ruach, is neither the red nor the white. As ruach, indeed, it abolished the contradistinction.